Hello everyone and welcome back to Elevated and Meaningful. Today I have a pleasure of introducing Ben. How are you, Ben?
Good. Thank you,
Awesome.
Simon.
Yeah. So Ben is a fairly new Baha'i.
2016.
2016.
October.
Okay. I'm sure it was a very interesting story you have. It is an interesting story you could share. But I wanted to make sure that we talk about what you're about to do.
Very good. That works with me.
Yes, so as far as I'm concerned, you're going to be walking the world.
That's correct. On a pilgrimage for peace.
On a pilgrimage for peace?
Heralding peace to the world.
So talk about that. What does that mean? How did you get inspired by it? And what's the sort of goal with that?
My goal is to, all along, walk around the world. Was initially, in my 20s, listening to the Buettner brothers bike around the world. I thought, with all these walks for peace and walks for humanity back in the day, I was telling people I'm going to walk around the world, and I always had this inkling in my head, why are you telling people that? That just, that's, how can you do that? And I just kept on telling people, and now it's come to fruition. And when I became a Baha'i, it became more and more clear that I was somehow being directed by God to say this.
Okay.
And there was a purpose in it and I found my true purpose is to herald peace around the world, to be a peace herald, that we have reached the time of peace, and I want to herald that to the world, that we can turn the corner from war and strife and inner turmoil to where we come to a world that is at peace. And it was only recently, after becoming a Baha'i, that I realized that has a connection for me. I want to hit all of the different houses of worship, the 8 in the world. Maybe by the time I'm done, there'll be 9. Maybe by the time I'm done, there'll be 10. It's going to take me 8, 10, or 12 years to walk from here to...
Where are we now?
Minnesota. I grew up in northern Minnesota, and I've already done about 10, 12 days on my walk, and I'm going...
From where to where?
Just north of Two Harbors, a place called Silver Creek Cliff, to almost to Grand Rapids.
Silver Creek Lake?
Silver Creek Cliff. On Lake Superior.
Okay, on Lake Superior.
There's a tunnel there, and I started just beyond that tunnel and walked through Duluth, almost to Floodwood. My brother picked me up in Floodwood and he ferried me to his house. I'm trying to touch all my brothers and sisters' houses. I'm from a family of 16 kids, and I have 14 living brothers and sisters, and so I'm going to touch all of them on this walk, except maybe for my sister Becky, who lives out in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And it's way off the beaten path.
Oh.
As it is right now, I'm making a zigzag through the state to touch the brothers and sisters that I can in the States.
Okay.
And then head south to Panama, Chile, Tierra del Fuego, Antarctic, South Georgia Islands, Cape Town, Suez, Frankfurt, India. I probably won't hit the House of Justice in House of Worship in Guam or Solomon's. I'm forgetting which and where it is. But then Kamchatka, any and all the Aleutian Islands that I can get onto, westernmost province of British Columbia, Banff, Winnipeg, Duluth, back to Minneapolis,
okay.
where we are sitting at the American Swedish Institute, a beautiful spot.
American Swedish Institute, yeah.
A well-known cultural center in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Beautiful vision that Swan Turnblad had.
I'll take some video shots after the interview to kind of include in the end of on the show. Maybe some of the things that you showed me at the American Swedish Institute. Beautiful structure, old.
One of the reasons why I became a volunteer at the American Swedish is because every year the American Swedish invites the whole neighborhood to come in and join them in a celebration of cultural diversity.
Oh, wow.
And so they invite the whole neighborhood, and this neighborhood is very culturally diverse. Somalis, Mexicans, South Americans, Central Americans, Hmong, the whole gamut that you find in the Twin Cities is found just in this neighborhood.
Beautiful. Yeah. And you live near here.
I just live a half block south.
Yeah.
that's where I'm taking off from on Monday, the 19th of July here.
You're going to
my
go on
second
July
part of my journey.
19th. You're heading to...
The walk will be thus. I will emulate the woman who from 1953 to 1981 called herself the Peace Pilgrim. You can look it up online. You can get a book that tells her story. And I'm going to emulate her where she walked over 50,000 miles in all the U.S. states, all of the Canadian provinces and territories, and parts of Mexico from 1953 to 1981. And her presentation was, I'm going to walk for peace until I'm offered respite, and I'm going to fast until offered food. And I'm going to try to emulate her by doing that. Presently, the walk has caused me to ask for water, because I don't want to be without water, and to ask for charges for my electronic stuff, to send stuff up to the cloud. I'm blogging on Bennett Scherber, B-E-N-E-T Scherber, S-C-H-I-R-B-E-R, to have people follow me. That's on Facebook.
On Facebook. I'll include that for folks who are interested to learn about your journey on my video.
Yes. And the basic walk is walking, and any opportunity I have to speak to people, tell them what I'm doing, that I'm a peace herald and I'm walking on a peace pilgrimage. A lot of them, I mean, I had one guy who was astonished, and he said, do you have to do that? And it was kind of funny, because it's like, yeah, I had a penance. I have to, I have a hair shirt under my t-shirt here to do penance to cover this.
Yes.
I really don't.
Okay.
I'm just doing it because all 46 years I've been telling people I'm going to do it, and it's finally come to fruition.
And why is it connected to the Baha'i? How is it connected to the Baha'i faith? Is it because of the messages, or they are congruent with your walk?
Totally. I feel it fits very nicely into the Baha'i faith, in that not only did Jesus herald peace in the world, he was the Prince of Peace. Baha'u'llah and the Bab were heralds of peace. And they have heralded the new age, the age of peace.
Yes.
And I am here to take what they have assured us, that we are in an age of peace, and I want to assure the world by heralding it to the world that we are in an age of peace. That we can set aside our swords, we can set aside our guns, we can set aside things of strife and come together in unity. And that message of one human family, for me, I will touch on so many different lives going around the world. I believe I will meet my brothers and sisters around the world.
Okay. So, and as you walk, where are you walking? Like, are there paths made for something like this, or
I so far have walked on the opposite side of the road to face traffic, so I can see and get out of the way if I need to. I'm walking in the grass mostly, sometimes on just the rubble next to the road, as far away from the white line on the side of the road as possible, to not have traffic bother me. Coming towards me in that lane, and I'm walking towards that traffic so I can see them. And
are these highways, or are they freeways?
Presently, I've done highways, stayed away from big freeways, big long open spaces. I've tried to go up country and take a chute across on a dirt road. I know I'll find farms and families and people along the way, and be able to talk to them or ask them for water or for charges for my electronic stuff to send this story up to the cloud for people that are following. Dirt roads, I've come, I mean, when Baha'u'llah talks about the fragrance of God, I've come across the fragrance of God. Sitting in the woods, it's just glorious. If they could bottle it, you'd be a millionaire. So beautiful. The fragrance on the road, the clover, the different flowers, the forest, sitting down in the forest. It's just such a beautiful experience, walking along, smelling this wonderful fragrance, being in the presence of God, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you've already done this journey a little bit.
I have.
And when did you decide to do it, and how long is it going to take you to end it?
I decided probably 3 years ago to put together this journey, and I've been telling people just most certainly I'm going to take off after my daughter has gotten established. I have a 19-year-old daughter. She's gotten established. She's doing beautiful as an adult. I have no qualms about her being able to be in the adult world. My wife, I feel, is taken care of. She can take care of herself. My daughter can be there to help her, and I will count on the goodness of other people. You asked a question and I forgot the question already.
Yeah,
when I was
so you thought about this 3 years ago.
So I started
it's been 3 years in the making.
It's been 30.
Oh, it's been
40,
longer.
45 years in the making.
You did say
telling
that.
people.
You said that,
that
yeah.
I'm walking around
Got
the world.
it.
But in the last 3 years, it's just come to where I said I would wait until my daughter gets
Got
established.
it.
She graduated from high school. She's moved out with friends, and I'm certain that my last daughter, I have 3 children, will do well in the world. So I'm satisfied that she'll be able to.
And how old are you?
I am 66, and my daughter is 19, and my wife at home will now live at home with our dog and cat. And
She's
pull
totally
down the
okay
porch.
with this.
She's totally okay with it. Yes, yes. We've been these last week here. We've been doing all kinds of little button-up things, like getting her closet clothes rod reestablished because her old one, she had so many clothes on it, busted.
You
I
kind of
fixed
took
it,
care of
and
chores.
Getting different chores done, boxes of stuff that's accumulated. I'm taking all my, because I used to be a handyman here in the Twin Cities, and I'm taking all my tools that I had as a handyman, and my brother has offered to take them because he's starting a school working with kids in the Twin Cities, teaching them the trades in building and construction. And he's going to hopefully start a school where he can use those tools that I have given him: planes, hammers, nail guns,
Got it.
saws, all my tools from being a handyman. He's got them in his garage, and he's going to...
You've been a handyman all your life?
No, it's 2015. For a long time I was a designer drafter and sat at a desk. I'm so fortunate that I have skills as a handyman, and now I've gotten up off the drafting chair and been doing handyman, using my hands, using my back, using my arms, being at this age out and active rather than what they say is the new cigarette that'll kill you, of sitting in a chair behind a computer. They say that's the new method to die quickly, is sitting motionless in a chair working all day, which I was doing for 18 years after I went to school for it. And then
What did you study?
in 2015, I studied in school of packaging, manufacturing, and automation. I had no career, and so I went back to school at 45 and picked up doing AutoCAD and did that for 18, 20 years.
What did you study?
Packaging.
No, where? What school?
What school? Dunwoody.
Dunwoody?
A local college in town.
In town,
That teaches
in
kids.
Minneapolis
Yep,
area.
teaches people different, plumbing, architecture, drawing. Mine was packaging, manufacturing, and automation coursework. And within that coursework, I had a course in AutoCAD, which is a drafting, computer-aided design program.
You did that for 18 years. Then
Yep.
you went to handyman.
Then since 2015, I've pretty much been opened my own business, been doing handyman, have 160 some customers, and did that for that many years. And now I've dispersed all my tools to my brother, all my
take care
nails,
of it,
all
yeah.
my jars of screws.
So what are you going to be taking with you? What
My
are your
packs so
essential devices?
A stack of prayer books about this big, which I read every day. And I could certainly pare them down, but I love holding the book.
The Baha'i prayer book.
Exactly. Baha'i prayers, prayer of St. Francis, a couple of them. Rumi, books on love, my one Courage to Change book, different little prayers that I have memorized, and I say them every morning. My beads for counting the 95 alawahas in the morning, and beyond that, I have some wrap non-stick pads on whatever callus I have or whatever blister
first
I have
aid.
on my foot. First aid.
Got it.
And a couple Band-Aids, 3 extra pairs of underwear, 3 extra shirts. I just have the shirt and pants that I'm wearing, which I wash, wherever I can. A hat, a staff, a backpack to put that all in, a hammock system that I can cover myself completely for mosquitoes and cover myself for wet. This hammock system has a rain fly. It's also got a mosquito fly, but I'll probably never hang the hammock. I'll just lay on the ground and sleep and use my different backpack and stuff for headrests. Rest on the side of the road, or rest wherever somebody offers me respite, which people have offered me respite. My brother, a friend of mine, and this woman, where it was raining the second day on my walk, she let me stay in the living quarters part of the horse trailer that they had parked behind the place they were renting up on the North Shore.
For people who enjoy luxury life, comfort, having a toilet in the house, television, internet, friends nearby. I mean, I know you're gonna have a lot of friends walking, but how is it that you're so detached to give this up for a long time?
I think that's what Baha'u'llah says, isn't it? That we must detach and just face and know God. So that is one of the biggest messages that I've gotten out of the Baha'i faith, is detach. And I'm taking it seriously. And that detachment goes to the point of no longer having any monkey mind. God has taken that away from me. That's where thoughts go through your head. I should have done this, I should have done that. If I had only, all kinds of, stuff that goes through your head. I'm not bothered by that anymore, whereas I was terribly bothered by it before. So I can sit patiently on the side of the road between 10 and 2 while the sun is the hottest. If it isn't overcast, if it's overcast, I can walk, but if the sun is the hottest, I stay out of the sun, unless it's shaded, and rarely is it shaded on the roads that I'm walking on. And I find just the prospect of meeting people on the road just so exciting that I can go long periods where I'm just with myself on my walk, meditating as I walk, counting my, listening to my steps in a tune in my head, singing songs. I've always sung songs and made up songs, so I make sounds up and sing them. One of the fun songs I was singing along the way was "Go in peace, peace be with you," with these people that were passing in the car. Round, round. Everyone, I would sing to them, "Go in peace, go in peace." And just singing my own songs. I've always had fun making up songs, so singing different songs along the way. Yeah, here's my phone going off. I can shut that off.
Okay, so...
Wait. Actually, this here is my time to say my obligatory
it is?
the small, short prayer. So, I bear witness, oh my God, that thou hast created me to know thee and to worship thee. I testify at this moment to my powerlessness and to thy might, to my poverty and to thy wealth. There is none other God but thee, the helping peril, the self-subsisting. That's a prayer by Baha'u'llah that I try to say every day at that time. It's an obligatory prayer in the Baha'i faith, which many of you might know if you're Baha'is.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating what you're gonna do, or what you're already kind of doing.
Yes.
Starting from Duluth, now here. but it's really gonna start.
You had asked me earlier
Yes.
how it relates to the Baha'i faith.
Yes, I want
And
to.
one of the things that I pulled in, having become a Baha'i in 2016, is I can now visit all the different houses of worship, except for one, maybe in Solomon. I think is what I already said that. Maybe.
Okay.
So that's already
That's-
part of the recording.
And so those are your milestones.
Those would be wonderful milestones to be able to walk into Israel, see the shrines, visit the shrines, and then go off to Frankfurt from there to see the National House of Worship in Germany.
So you're gonna fly, right? You're flying to Europe.
No, I will fly. I'm going to go from here to Tierra del Fuego. You know, so I'm going to cut right through
Yeah,
the Americas.
walk me through all of it now.
I'm going to be walking
okay.
from here to Tierra del Fuego, stopping in Panama and Chile. Brothers and sisters on that U.S. part of it, zigzagging. St. Louis over to
There's a
Fort
man-made.
Collins.
I think in Panama there's canal. It's a man-made
I
canal.
could walk across that.
You could
if
walk
I
acro-
want.
okay.
I can walk across the dams.
The
You know,
dams.
they have locks, and
Yes.
you can walk across the locks.
Okay, you're gonna go down that way.
I'm going to go down through that way, cut down all the way down to Tierra del Fuego, the southernmost tip, or Patagonia, whichever country you're in.
Tip of South America.
Tip of South America, catch a boat or a plane to Antarctic. Have them let me walk as much as they will let me on Antarctic. Take a plane or a boat either back to the tip of South America and then over to the the Sandwich Islands, South Georgia Island. Walk the settlement on the north to where Shackleton landed with his 12 men rescuing his expedition where the boat was frozen in the ice in Antarctic, and walk back. That's a 33-mile over the mountain pass walk. Whether I can do it or not, that's neither. Any of this is neither here nor there. My aim is to walk as far as I can. From there, I would land in Cape Town, go to Uganda for sure. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Kahama. Definitely stop by in Kahama, Lake Victoria, Uganda, where the other house of worship is in Africa. Suez, walk into Israel.
So you're walking from Cape Town all the way north.
Kahama, Tanzania would be the next spot.
You're walking it.
I'm walking. Hopefully learning Swahili, hopefully learning other languages along the way by visiting with the people along the way.
So you're gonna go toward Egypt,
Exactly. Yep.
and then
Suez, cut over to the Holy Land and try to. I have a scheduled pilgrimage to the Holy Land for July 20th to the 27th in 2023. And I'm going to probably move that out if it takes me longer to get to that pilgrimage.
wow.
But I'm setting up my pilgrimage already by walking in. Hopefully I will be able to walk into Israel. And it says you can stay like 38 days, and I'm hoping they'll let me walk in and walk out.
I just want to turn to my viewers and say that if you're on pilgrimage that time, if everything goes well and you're on track, you should see him.
I would love to see you.
Okay,
I would love to meet you.
continue. And then
Up to Frankfurt, where the other house of worship is in Germany, in Europe. I have a friend in Prague. I told him I would meet him in Prague. The next big jump is to India, the house of worship in India. Next big jump is to Kamchatka, which is where I'm going to jump off to the Aleutian Islands and take any fishing boat that will give me a ride on any and all of the Aleutian Islands, as many as I can walk on. I have a friend that's meeting me in Kamchatka and going to jump off and do the islands on the Aleutians. Fairbanks, Alaska, there's a friend there. The westernmost valley in British Columbia, Banff, Winnipeg, so across the Canadian prairie to Winnipeg, down to Lake Superior, Duluth, which is basically where I started, near Duluth, and then down to Minneapolis. Is the end of my walk.
The hope is 8 to 12 years.
8 to 12 years.
It should. Is that a realistic year?
It is a realistic amount of years. If I just did it when I initially started out and just walked 25,000 miles, I could do it 8.3 years. But I am expecting, since I'm not doing this normal waistband of the earth walk around the world, I'm doing north to south, south to north, west to east, and then north to south. I'm doing a very different walk. I figure it'll take me 4,321 days, which is just over 12 years. It would be sweet if it took it that long.